Haunting Adeline, love it or hate it, I drew it. Let's talk about my favorite scene. Couple of housekeeping notes first. First off, this is done completely for fun on my part. I read Haunting Adeline, needed to make some content from my book and draw series where I read and draw my favorite scene from a book. So I haven't received any money for this. This is purely for fun and is my interpretation of a scene. Second, we're jumping into a controversial book. I didn't know anything about this book except that one scene. If you're on TikTok, you know. So I know a lot of people have opinions on this book. This is why I chose it. That's for fun on my own personal end. But this isn't a review. This isn't an analysis. So if you want that sort of content, I'm not that. But if you do want to see me draw some fun art while I talk about the scene I liked, then stick around. For dark romance lovers already, I'm sure you've already read this book, you adore this book. If you are curious about this book, I always recommend checking the trigger warnings first. So I picked up Haunting Adeline as a small book club between me and my friend. She, of course, got like all my thoughts and opinions about this book. You know, of course, the spice was spicy, and, you know, again, check your trigger warnings if you do want to read this. And for someone who, like myself, draws spice and loves drawing spice, I didn't draw a spicy scene for two reasons. One, I really needed the content. So I was like, I can't draw a spicy scene and post it online, you know, as part of my book series. And so when I decided I was going to make content from this book, that was like the first thing I decided. Then I was like, okay, going through what scene am I going to draw? What scene am I going to draw? And then I was making little notes throughout the book. And then when I got to this scene, I was like, okay, this is the one. This is the one I really want to draw. I could see it so clearly in my head. But what I liked about it was that it gave me like all the different feelings. I'm going to try to avoid spoilers, but what the scene had me feeling was like anxious. I was disgusted. I was kind of laughing and like scared all at the same time. And in this scene, it was fun to me because like at this point, we've been seeing Zaid as kind of like these two things. So like Adeline's perspective, he's kind of scary, she's kind of like enamored by him, put off by him. And then Zaid, we see he's like this perfect, gruff, angry anti-hero with a vendetta. And then he comes to this scene and this little cafe to go just take a little sneaky peek at Adeline and runs into one of the targets. And I liked it because we kind of got to see Zaid be a bit more vulnerable, a bit more on edge, because his target right away is, of course, because for the drama, is targeting Adeline, and Zaid's just like, oh, nuh-uh, not my girl. And the whole time, like, Adeline is kind of just there, like, why are you here? You're my stalker. What is going on? And I don't know. I found the whole scene endearing, hilarious. Again, I was scared because I was like, what's going to happen? You know, at this point, too, we're kind of with Adeline back and forth on what we feel about Zaid. So a very entertaining scene. I don't know exactly like what the cafe looked like, but I decided to kind of like put it outside, put the backdrop of the forest, which it takes place in like Washington State. I live in Northern California, so I kind of just took inspiration from like my area a little bit, whatever. Maybe there's like a I decided to use like an outside patio of one of my own local spots as reference. So I kind of feel with Zaid, I had fun with his personality. When I saw like all the fan art of him first, I thought he was just going to be like this dark, brooding character, which I mean, he kind of is, but he is also surprisingly cocky. So I really wanted to put that kind of personality into my scene. The same thing with Adeline. Every kind of fan art that I saw of her, she's just so demure and beautiful and just, but she is surprisingly like fed up with Zaid at this point. So I really just kind of wanted to push that expression of hers. And I've talked about this several times already, but one of my main artistic inspirations is Kazuya Minakura, who does like Sayuki, Bus Gamer, Wild Daptor. She has this incredible, I don't know how to call it, like stink face of expression, and it's one of my favorite things to draw. And every time I look at Adeline's face and I'm like, okay, that's like That's Gojo, that's Sanzo. That's them making their stink face. So if you're familiar with that, you may recognize, kind of see that art inspiration. But so otherwise, I hope you like how it turned out. I had a lot of fun doing this piece. I'm debating about doing a not safe for work over on my Patreon for this book. I don't know. I feel kind of weird making money off of something that's not mine, but I don't know. I guess I'll leave it to the viewers. If you guys want to see a not safe for work version or a not safe for work Haunting Adeline fan art for me, let me know in the comments below.